Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, another scorcher on tap for your weekend. The heat advisories across the state and the UF weather team is tracking how soon we could see some relief.
And an iconic part of the Summer Olympics begins today. We're following the Olympic Flames relay across the oceans.
And bear sightings increasing in one north central Florida town. What wildlife officers are doing to catch the bear and what they're warning neighbors not to do to hinder their efforts. First at 5 starts right now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Temperatures climb back into the 90s today, and it's expected to get even hotter this weekend. This is First at 5. I'm Jada Ross.
And I'm Eva Garcia. The temps are expected to get so high this weekend that counties like Palm Beach and Miami-Dade are all under heat advisories. Let's get right over to meteorologist William Maxham live in the weather studio, tracking the near record heat we're expected to see this weekend.
Yeah, it is very hot. There is a heat advisory in effect until 6 o'clock for several counties southeast Florida, but for us, no advisories, just plenty of extreme heat highs so far today. Into the low 90s, 93 the high so far in Gainesville, but it felt as warm as 100. That is our current heat index, feeling like 102 in Ocala. We're expecting similar numbers tomorrow. Very little in the way of thunderstorms this afternoon to relieve the heat. Most of that activity a little bit to our south, but there's one little cell there, Marion County. Heat index values going to, of course, go down as we get later into the night. Then tomorrow quickly ramping back up again. We're into the 80s. That's how it's going to feel early into the morning and feeling like 100 for about 3 days into the start of next week. But then a pattern shift will occur. We'll talk about the cooler and wetter temperatures next week in a few minutes.
There are 7 weeks left to the opening ceremony of the Summer Olympic Games in Paris. But today started the cross-country journey of the iconic Olympic torch. As Jay Gray reports, the torch relay starts in France and will cross 5 oceans on its unique voyage.
The Olympic flame leaving the west coast of France for what's called the relay across the oceans, visiting 6 French territories and 3 of the world's 5 oceans. Part of its unique 11-week journey to Paris, lighting a fire in the athletes who will compete there.
Once the torch is lit, it's game time.
A city celebrated for its flair and fashion, getting a final makeover ahead of the games. At the center of it all, the iconic Eiffel Tower.
Of course, the tower will be ready for this big event because we will be at the heart of the Olympics.
Also surrounding these Olympics, lingering questions and concerns in an effort to cut carbon emissions by more than half of previous games. The Athletes' Village, home to more than 20,000 competitors, will not have air conditioning in a place that often sees temperatures well above 100 degrees in the summer.
The insulation is really efficient. We also are providing naturally cool water that we're getting from underground to cool the air of these apartments.
Several delegations say they'll bring along their own AC and fans. Another worry, the water quality in the Seine River. Over the last year, untreated sewage has flowed into the venue for marathon swimming and the swimming portion of the triathlon. But officials say this giant collection basin will make the river safe and swimmable, promising Paris will be a gold medal host for this Summer Games. Jay Gray, NBC News.
The Paris Olympic trials for gymnastics will take place from June 27th through the 30th in Minnesota. 3 Gators gymnasts will be announced on the teams for the trials. Sky Blakely, Kayla DiCello, and Leanne Wong will all compete for a chance at the spot on the USA national team in Paris.
This weekend, neighbors in Gainesville can sell their firearms to the Gainesville Police Department. GPD is hosting a gun buyback event. Neighbors can anonymously bring their unloaded firearms to Antioch Holiness Church. They can receive up to $300 in gift cards. GPD says the program allows neighbors to turn in guns without the fear of prosecution. The event is tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 1. And in about 2 hours, Gainesville leaders will recognize Gun Violence Awareness Day with a special Wear Orange event. From 7:30 to midnight, neighbors can enjoy teen midnight basketball and a presentation from Mayor Harvey Ward. You're asked to wear orange clothing and sign up to join the efforts to end gun violence. The event is free and is being held at the Martin Luther King Jr. Multipurpose Room on Northeast 14th Street.
A Attorney General Ashley Moody is continuing to warn Floridians about the dangers of fentanyl use. The synthetic opioid, which is 100 times stronger than morphine, is being mixed into other illegal drugs and sold to unsuspecting users. This week, Moody is reminding Floridians that naloxone, a medication that counteracts fentanyl, is available over the counter at pharmacies across the state. She says those who may have loved ones struggling with addiction should make sure to always have the medication on hand.
With the sheer volume of fentanyl that has flooded into our state, we are going to have to educate our citizens on how to obtain and administer this life-saving medication for those that overdose.
Moody says summer break is a time when kids are vulnerable to illegal drug usage, either from friends or either being online and talking to digital drug dealers. According to the CDC, more than 7,000 Floridians died from drug overdoses this year.
The cause of the fire in Waldo County is currently under investigation. Crews from both Alachua County and Melrose were dispatched to the single-family home. It took the crew 4 minutes to gain control and extinguish the fire. There were no injuries and 2 kittens and a guinea pig were rescued. Unfortunately, 3 birds passed in the crossfire.
Last night, the Gainesville City Commission unanimously passed an ordinance giving voters the choice to dissolve the GRU Authority Board. The ordinance allows voters to repeal a section of the city charter which establishes the GRU authority. Right now, the 5 members are appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis. Many neighbors at last night's meeting expressed concern the current members are not looking out for their best interests. Representative Chuck Clemens, who wrote the legislation that created the authority, questioned the legality of the decision. Voters will decide what's next on November 5th.
Marion County Fire Rescue and Marion County Sheriff's Office have been preparing for the Rock the Country event for over 6 months, and the day has finally come. There will be first responders throughout the event, 2 medical tents labeled first aid, and misting fans to keep you cool. Marion County Fire Rescue is urging those attending to stay hydrated. As you just heard, temperatures will be in the 90s all weekend, and it will feel much hotter. In addition to staying hydrated, the Marion County Sheriff's Office is warning about traffic delays. They say due to the event's size and anticipated number of attendees, there will be a significant increase in traffic. They are urging drivers to allow extra time for their commute, remain alert, and be cautious on the roadways. The concert kicks off tonight with Kid Rock at the Majestic Oaks Farm on Highway 441.
The Levy County Parks and Recreation Department has announced that boat ramps are reopened at Suwannee River. The ramps were originally closed due to high water levels that have now receded. The reopened camps include Clay Landing, Camp Azalea, and Fowler's Bluff. Boaters traveling along the river are still advised to be cautious and maintain a safe speed and be aware of potential hazards and floating debris.
The Ocala Police Department was made aware of a black bear wandering around southeast Ocala. FWC says they are working on safely trapping and removing the bear. This is video of the animal given to us by a viewer. FWC is asking you to report any sightings to their alert hotline immediately. In the meantime, don't feed the animal and remove trash cans or any other materials that could encourage them to stick around. And lastly, avoid any interactions with these animals. Coming up next, when First at 5 returns, President Biden is reaffirming the U.S. commitment to the Ukraine as the 2 leaders met in France today.
And former President Trump has narrowed down his list of vice president contenders. The Florida lawmaker that made the list when First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The judge presiding over Hunter Biden's trial has dismissed the jury for the weekend. Earlier, the prosecution rested its case. And as Ryan Nobles reports, defense lawyers called Hunter Biden's eldest daughter, Naomi, to the stand.
It was another dramatic day in the courtroom as Hunter Biden's eldest daughter, Naomi, was on the witness stand for the defense. Her goal was to paint a picture of her father on the road to recovery in October of 2018. That, of course, the month in question where he bought that gun and filled out the federal form declaring that he was not an active drug user. Naomi saying that she met with her father while he was in a treatment facility in Los Angeles and said that he looked good, as good as he had looked since his brother had passed away. She also told a story about a meeting in October in New York City where they swapped cars. But that's where the prosecution was able to try and put some holes in her testimony. They described text messages between her father and Naomi where they were having a hard time meeting up, and she didn't have answers for why that was so difficult. The defense is now trying to figure out where they go next. They've decided not to call James Biden, who is Hunter Biden's uncle, the brother of the president, to testify, and they have decided to reconvene the case on Monday. They have also not ruled out calling Hunter Biden to testify in his own defense.
President Biden met with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky in Paris today to discuss the delay in U.S. military aid. The president offered a public apology for the months-long delay that officials say Russia took advantage of the crucial battlefield advances. He also announced a new $225 million package on weapons. French President Emmanuel Macron, who is hosting the two world leaders, also offered combat aircraft aid and training efforts to Ukraine. Donald Trump's campaign has requested documents and sent vetting materials to candidates under consideration for the vice presidency. Trump has narrowed down the list of potential candidates down to North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, and Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Those are among sent the vetting materials. His campaign has emphasized that Trump is the only person involved in making and knowing anything about the final decision. The former president is expected to announce his running mate at the Republican National Convention next month.
And we're watching that sunshine warming us up. We're in the 90s, but we're going to be threatening record level heat over the weekend. Your forecast when we come back.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. We are hot and sticky, and temperatures could even be hotter over the weekend. Right now, several locations feeling above 100. Bronson feels like 101, feels like 104. High Springs right now, 99 is that heat index value, and Gainesville, where temperatures are not quite as hot as that, but they're in the mid-90s. 94 degrees right now, our current temperature. Crystal River, a little closer to the water. That's the only spots where you're going to get relief from the heat. 88 degrees right now. We're looking at 90s to near 100 for pretty much the entire weekend. Temperatures at 94 degrees. Again, that real feel number or heat index around 99 degrees tonight. Temperature is going to be slow to cool off. In fact, it's going to be in the 80s until midnight tonight pretty much. Then tomorrow, a quick rebound in the heat after the sun comes out. But after the near record heat this weekend, there is going to be a pattern shift. So there is relief in sight, but it looks like our heat probably going to be at its most extreme over the next 2 to 3 days through Monday and Sunday. Looks to be the day I think we have our best chance of setting a new record. We're now forecasting a tie of our record high, which has stood for over 100 years. 99 degrees is what we're forecasting now. Again, feels like 93 right now, and let's put this into motion through the night. Or actually, this is at 7 o'clock, still feeling like the 90s, feels like the 70s when we wake up. But tomorrow afternoon, that combination of heat and humidity is going to push it all the way up into the 103, 105 area, 105, that heat index at 3 o'clock in Ocala. And we're looking at numbers that are going to be pretty much the same on Sunday, Monday as well. So triple digit heat and feeling hotter than that. Monday, though, that's when the pattern is going to break. A cold front's going to be moving into from the north and starting to give us better potential for rain. But through the weekend, got to take those hot weather precautions, take breaks and drink that water. Unfortunately, we're not seeing much in the way of storms this evening. There is a sprinkle or two in northern Marion County, but these pretty weak. They'll be dissipating quickly. A cold front going to come in and settle across the region early next week. And we're looking at rounds of rainfall starting Tuesday and continuing through Friday. We could potentially pick up 2, maybe 3 or 4 inches of rain next week. And also, we'll be enjoying a nice drop in temperatures when the rain returns. But that near record heat continues through Monday. We're near 100, but quite unsettled Tuesday through Friday with rounds of heavy rain.
Good news, you'll get to avoid the Gainesville heat if you're traveling to see Gator baseball this weekend. When we come back, we'll talk about the Gators' upcoming series against the Tigers in the Clemson Super Regional.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Ben McLeish. Gators baseball is set to take on the Tigers tomorrow in the Clemson Super Regional. This is the Gators' 12th overall Super Regional appearance and their 10th under current head coach Kevin O'Sullivan. The Gators sit just 2 wins away from their second straight College World Series appearance. Liam Peterson is expected to start on the mound for the Gators in Game 1. Peterson is coming off a quality start in the regional, where he gave up just 2 runs in 5.1 innings. 8 teams are playing in super regional matchups today. 8th-ranked Florida State defeated UConn 24-4. At last look, Tennessee was beating Evansville 8-5 in the 6th inning. West Virginia takes on North Carolina at 6, and Kansas State faces off against Virginia at 7. In softball, Gators catcher Jocelyn Erickson won the Division I Player of the Year award this morning. Erickson became just the 2nd Gator to win the award, with Skylar Wallace claiming the honor last season. The Oklahoma transfer put up incredible numbers in her sophomore season, setting the program record with 86 RBI. She ended the year with a .382 average, 15 doubles, and 15 home runs. Last night, Oklahoma softball defeated Texas in the Women's College World Series to take home their 4th straight national championship. This marks the Sooners' 8th overall title, tying Arizona for 2nd most in NCAA history. After narrowly defeating the Gators to advance to the World Series Finals, the Sooners took care of the Longhorns in 2 games, defeating them 8-3 and 8-4. Things won't get any easier for the Gators moving forward, as both Oklahoma and Texas will join Florida in the SEC next season. Last night, Florida's Parker Valby claimed her 5th NCAA individual championship at the Track and Field Championships, competing in the 10,000 meters. Valby is the first Florida Gator to be an individual champion in the event. Valby added 10 points to the Gators' score for the team championships. Day 3 of the championships begin tonight, with the competition wrapping up tomorrow. Coming into the day, the Gator women lead the country with 26 points. Nebraska sits close behind with 22. The men currently sit outside the top 10 with 6 total points.